frame itself is all done. Even got the floor joists in while we were waiting for it to stop raining. We've got several days of clear weather, so we're gonna do the roof decking now. First thing is just gonna be to cut the pitch cut. Which this is a 10 inches and 12 inches of rise pitch, so just need to cut that on the first few boards, or the first course of boards, nail those down, and then just go from there. This is underneath thus far, going on down. It's going pretty well. Really happy with the way that the rafter tails are looking. There are some boards in here that are ugly or have some water damage, but I put those in right there because the wall will actually come up outside of those, and it'll probably also be covered up to the inside. So those are just structural. They don't really matter visual wise.
Eric has been making really good progress on all of the decking. It looks so beautiful from the inside. So that's going to be the ceiling. That'll be what you see when you're standing in the house. And trying to get that wrapped up and get the vapor barrier and stuff like that on before any rain moves in, which I think we're supposed to have some in the next couple days. And I'm here all day today, which I haven't been in a while. So it's a food prep day. Have pork butt roasting, made some bread, made our breakfast for the week, all kinds of stuff. And got some potatoes planted, some wildflowers, some more herbs. Trying to stay on top of sowing herbs like every week or two right now, especially cilantro, so that we have plenty, because it likes to bolt when it gets hot. And I'm just kind of waiting any day now for really, really hot temperatures. But it's been super nice. So we're just gonna keep going on decking and hopefully finish it today, right?
What's that?
Finish decking today?
At least close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
The last run gets cut at the angle of the pitch, so that adds a little bit of time, but
It's looking good.
yeah.
The pork butt's smelling good. Here is a bit of view of the inside with the decking completed. It looks so gorgeous. I love just the warmth of the wood. And I love the views, of course. Looks great inside and out. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with it. I love the angle of the rafters and everything he did with that. It's really beautiful. So looking up, this area will be open just like this. So basically a vaulted kitchen, dining room, living room area. And then toward the back is the loft. So these are the floor joists for the loft. So I have some kind of stairs or ladder going up into it over here. And that loft area will be basically a second bedroom. And that's looking really beautiful. We'll have some windows on both ends up high so that you can get light and some of the view from up in the loft as well. Today Eric is clearly working on the subroof. So he finished up the actual decking earlier today and it looks so good. Very bright today. So now he's been working on the subroof and we really have to get that done today, I think, because I think we have Ray moving it tomorrow. So we'll keep working on that. I'm gonna help him as much as I can. We're using plywood that was recycled from something, not really sure what, but we got it at a really good price, thankfully, because of course all that's very inflated right now. And so yeah, we're just trying to get that up. Today it's like, I don't know, 4 p.m. So we're gonna have to hustle and get it done and then get the vapor barrier on.
Alright, it's the next day after we started putting up the plywood sub-roof situation. I still have one more row to do on the bottom on this side, but why haven't I done that yet? Oh, because that toe board is up there along the bottom, and I decided to do the underlayment from the top down. Underlayment, you want it to function like shingles, pretty simple, where they just lap over each other. That as they go higher, they're always lapping over each other so that it sheds water off, just like a shingle. And I've always done it from the bottom up, but then if you do that, either you need, I don't know what they're called, but hook ladders that'll hook over to get up there, or you need to keep screwing toe boards so you can get higher up. But I didn't want to do that and screw through our underlayment. If you're putting the underlayment down and the roof's going on soon after, then it's not a big deal. But this may be up here for a long time. I don't know how long, but it's UV rated. I looked around for this stuff. It's UV rated for 9 months of sun exposure. So this way we can basically dry in the roof and move on to other things and probably come back to the rest of the roof, which will be like an insulation build-up and then a final roofing material on top of that. So I digress. I have not put the last row of plywood on yet so that I can have toe boards going up and start at the top. And basically all I'm doing is putting a layer on. I started at the top, overlapped the peak and nailed it, but didn't nail the overlap. And then the next row I just tuck under there and nail along that. And so I'm just working my way down. And when I get down to the bottom where I can reach to do everything off of the ladder, I'll take the last toe board off, put the last row of plywood on, put the last row of underlayment on. So that's kind of that's the overview. I don't have any footage of putting the underlayment up because it's just a lot of running back and forth. And it's also a bit of a breezy day. So it's a little bit of a just slowly work as I go, roll it out, nail it down. But yeah, the roof is almost done, part one. So we got sand delivered yesterday. I drove several hours and picked up insulation that we can use under the floor. And yesterday I also spread out some crusher run on top of the septic rock for the floor. Leveled that out. Now I'm going to put a layer of sand, and that'll be a nice flat bed to put the insulation on.
And then after insulation, we'll do another layer of the gravel and tamp that down really nice. And we'll leave it at that for now, but the earthen floor will go on top of that. And we've also been working on some samples for the earthen floor. So we dug a little test hole, got some soil out, some clay soil, sifted it, and we're just working on ratios of clay to sand. So I'll show you what those look like.
All right, so unfortunately these got rained on, but just for big picture visual, this is half sand to 1 clay, which doesn't really make sense, but bear with me. This is 1 to 1, and this is 2 parts sand to 1 part clay. And you can see over here, when you have too high of a clay ratio, it cracks like crazy. And this one had a decent amount of cracks in it, and this one had, you know, maybe 2 or 3 small cracks in it. You can't see them anymore because I think the rain just took all the clay particles, which are small, and carried them in to the cracks. But it was interesting. This one especially set up nice and hard, had a couple cracks. So from what we understand, that's pretty ideal. And then I did 2 more at a higher sand ratio though. Yeah, so this one is 3 parts sand to 1 clay, and this is 4 to 1. So there was no cracking that I could tell in these. This one, there's a lot of sand showing, and it kinda, you can scratch it pretty easily, which is not ideal. So it didn't have, that's a sign that it didn't have enough binder, for what I understand. So 3 to 1 has been seeming pretty good. It's definitely, you can still scratch it, but it's also not, you know, fully hardened. It doesn't have, there's still more steps. This is just a foundational test. So I think this is probably what we're gonna go with. I'll probably end up doing more anyway, because the sand we got is very different from this. So we'll do more tests, and I might do like, you know, a 2.5 to 1 ratio. This is the sand that we got, and as you can tell, it basically looks like play sand. And what I had asked for was mason sand, which was supposed to be up to like 3/16 of a grain particle size, like a varying degree of particle sizes, with the largest being 3/16. But this is all very fine. So yeah, everything that I've read said try to get eyes on it before you buy it, and I didn't, so that's been a mistake. Learning process. But I think probably what we'll do is get something else in addition to this, and we'll probably just, you know, blend them, come up with a good ratio, and do, you know, 1 part this to 1 part something else, because you need the fines as well, from what I understand. You want a good variety. So, bit of a bummer, but at the same time, we'll learn from it and we'll work with it. All right, so this being our first time building anything new, and even our last renovation, we actually didn't replace the windows. Windows is a whole new world, and been down the rabbit hole trying to figure out what we should do. So it's something that I felt like I didn't want to compromise on. If we're trying to do everything else as best we can, I wanted new windows that were going to be durable and looked good, and the aesthetic is one component that has thrown us off. You know, we want it to feel traditional, being that it's going to have plaster, etc. And so, you know, white vinyl kind of fell out of the question, but that's our most economical new option. And so that basically led us to, seems like either fiberglass or wood were the best material options that still look traditional, because, you know, they make vinyl ones that they look decent, but maybe from a distance, and then as soon as you get close,
it looks like plastic. So the problem is that new windows are so costly. And I think the process is challenging to make them. So, and having worked in furniture before, I do appreciate there's so much that goes into these things. But to buy new windows that would be wood or fiberglass that are decent, after kind of asking around, asking some questions, it was probably going to be the most expensive part of our budget. So that led us to looking around online for used, etc., just to see what's out there. And we ended up buying, we have 6 of the 8 windows that we need. So we're still working on finding some more. And I found 5 of these that are wood, and they're clad with aluminum. I'll show you. On the outside, it's pretty dirty. They need some cleaning and stuff. But from what I gathered, if they're this brand, if it's clad in vinyl, there's been issues with those in the past where it delaminated and you got water behind it. But apparently this style clad wood with aluminum on the outside has held up pretty well. So took a little while to bite the bullet, but decided that we would go for these and make it work since it's a smaller building. We're really trying to do it on a budget, and they seemed to be in pretty solid condition. So, and they're casement windows, so they swing it open. Yeah, they don't slide, and it's actually supposed to be oriented the other way. Tess figured that out. And then the I think it's the bottom window opens out, so I guess it's actually technically an awning window. So we have 5 of these. One other window that will go in the kitchen, and then we need to find 2 more windows. So, like I said, it makes me nervous putting in used windows, but at the same time, I think I'd rather be putting these wood-clad windows in than the most economical, cheaply built new vinyl window that you can find.
Hey, good morning. Sorry I didn't let you sleep ever. Wow, good thing you stayed on the driveway.
Alright, so I have the sand all leveled out as best as I can. It's a bit challenging to get it perfect, but I'm hoping that we can kind of work the insulation down into a bed that'll be flat enough. Also, these are smaller pieces, so I don't think it's going to be quite as crucial as if you had like a full 4x8 sheet. But this insulation, this is probably going to be the least natural thing in this entire build. Entire as in this very small build. There's not many good options if you're going to insulate a floor as far as natural materials, from what I've been able to find. You can use pumice rock apparently, but I didn't find any good sources for it right around here. This rigid insulation is actually not cheap, but I spent a lot of time trying to find recycled sources for it, and there's a few websites out there that you can look at that basically, I think, buy old refrigeration units, etc. But this stuff I actually found from a manufacturer that's about 3 hours from here, who they make these as essentially concrete forms. I think it's ICF, insulated concrete form. So yeah, you'll see ICF floating around. But these basically get set up like you would just wooden forms for concrete, and they get connected together so that you can pour a concrete footer, stem wall, etc., and it's already insulated because concrete is not a good insulator. So these become basically integrated into the whole system, which is pretty cool as far as just a technology as a building method. But this manufacturer, he had these listed on, I think, Craigslist, and they basically had a parking lot of them, and from what I gathered, these didn't meet their specs from a structural standpoint. For some reason, they're basically seconds, and so he was selling them for a fraction of the price. So basically we were able to get the insulation for the floor, and we should have enough for the roof as well for probably like a fifth of the cost of if we had bought rigid insulation new. And it was basically set to go into a landfill if he can't sell it. So super glad to find it. I think it'll work out well. It's a specific, you have to have, I think, EPS or XPS. There's different types of rigid foam for a floor to be able to withstand any kind of weight. So this is EPS foam. It basically seems like styrofoam to me. So yeah, we're gonna lay out one layer of this. Basically got these nice little Lego nubs. So we'll see how it works. And then vapor barrier, and then stone on top of that.
Got all the foam down. There's still a few little spots where I need to put in some small cut pieces, but I think also there's some spots here and there where there's dents or voids, and even some of the spots where the seams are a little bit bigger. So I might just sweep a layer of sand over it to fill all that in, and then put the vapor barrier down.
We're working on the subfloor today, and Eric's just working on getting gravel in and getting it mostly leveled out.